I remember the day they told me I'd failed, clear as a brutal slap across the face. My professor's voice echoing in my ears, dismissing my ideas as naive, unscientific, and a waste of time. My own family, sitting in the cramped university hall, looked on with sneers and disbelief. My dream of rejuvenating soil using ancient indigenous practices, they called it useless, primitive, and worse, an embarrassment to our family name. I was 23, standing at the edge of what felt like a precipice, ready to leap into a future that everyone around me was determined to scoff at. They told me I'd fail, that I was chasing fairy tales, that the land was too degraded and that I'd never make a difference. My father, a stern man with rough hands from years of hard labor, shook his head as if I'd gone mad. My mother begged me to come to my senses. "You're throwing your life away," she whispered. "For what? Some silly idea that's been long forgotten?" And so I left the university that day, heart pounding with rage and heartbreak. Not because I doubted myself. No, that had already been battered out of me. But because I refused to let their words define my future. I knew deep inside that ancient knowledge, soil wisdom passed down through generations, wasn't primitive. It was pure power, a blueprint for healing the earth that had been ignored for too long. I turned away from the skepticism, from the ridicule, and from the family I loved, but who couldn't see what I saw. I plunged into community farms, into soil tests and trials, relentless, obsessive work that often felt like banging my head against a brick wall. Every failed crop, every dry season was a reminder of how much ancient wisdom was dismissed as unscientific. But I kept going, driven by something deeper. An unshakable belief that our ancestors knew the secret to sustainable living. Years passed. Barren fields, once a symbol of neglect and despair, slowly began to breathe again. I experimented tirelessly, composting with indigenous plants, planting cover crops, restoring water cycles. What was once an ecological wasteland morphed, gradually, almost miraculously, into lush, vibrant ecosystems teeming with life. Animals returned, soil fertility soared, and local farmers, once skeptical, started to see the truth for themselves. My small project grew into a movement, a testament to what ancient ecological wisdom could accomplish when respected and applied. And then the day came, the day I returned home, not as the laughingstock they'd dismissed, but as someone who'd proven them wrong, spectacularly so. The family's farm looked the same from the outside, but the land inside was a living miracle. I pulled into the driveway, heartbeat pounding, my hands trembling, not with fear, but with a strange, overwhelming sense of destiny fulfilled. I stepped out of the car and looked at their faces, eyes wide, mouths open, disbelief etched deep into every line. My father looked at the thriving fields, green, bursting with crops, teeming with bees and birds, and his jaw clenched. My mother's eyes welled with tears, her hands trembling as she reached out, hesitant but curious. They had no idea what I was about to show them, into the very soil that once had been a dust bowl. I knelt down, digging my fingers into the earth, rich, dark, alive. I looked at my family, and for a moment, I saw the same skepticism I'd carried all those years ago. Fear that this was just another naive dream, that I'd somehow failed them all again. But then I spoke, voice steady and fierce. This isn't just soil. It's a legacy. It's what our ancestors knew, what modern science turned away from. This land was dead, just like many others, depleted, poisonous, useless. When I proved that with respect, patience, and ancient wisdom, we can heal it, we can make it thrive again. The silence was heavy until my father finally spoke, voice cracking. "You did this?" "Yes," I said simply. "I did, and I've only just begun." In that moment, I saw something shift. Recognition, maybe even a glimmer of pride. They saw what I'd built, what I'd become, a vindication carved out of years of solitude, doubt, and relentless conviction. It's easy to dismiss someone's dreams when they're impossible. Easy to mock what's unfamiliar. But the earth, like us, has a resilience that's often underestimated. I learned that no matter how brutal the rejection, no matter how heavy the weight of doubt, perseverance rooted in truth can turn the deepest despair into unimaginable triumph. And here's what I want you to remember. Sometimes you have to walk away from the voices that tell you failure and ridiculous. You have to trust that the seed of your belief, no matter how small or dismissed, carries within it the power to grow into something enormous. It's not about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right, about becoming the person who refuses to be broken by rejection. When I see my family now, witnessing the land, our land, flourish, I feel a profound sense of peace. I know I've shown them what's possible when ancient wisdom is embraced instead of scorn. I've turned a legacy of neglect into a testament of hope, proving that resilience, patience, and faith in what's true can heal even the most battered earth. And I want you to take this with you. Never let the dismissive voices drown out your inner voice, your dreams, your passions. They're the soil. Cultivate them with love, resilience, and an unshakable belief. And one day, you'll stand in front of the world and the people who doubted you and say, "I told you so." Because the real victory isn't just in the success itself, but in the journey, trusting, fighting, and transforming rejection into redemption. That, my friend, is the true harvest.